that little tune got you excited, then you're going to want to keep watching. You might have heard that Core Keeper is a top-down Terraria, and that's mostly true. If you're thinking about picking it up, here's a short review after about 30 hours of gameplay. I'll cover the fun factor, the developer's roadmap and updates, and whether I can recommend the game in its current state. So, have you heard the story about Terraria, Stardew Valley, and Valheim walking into the bar? At its core, Core Keeper really doesn't set out to break the mold that much. Let's think of it like a cocktail. You start with 2 parts crafting, survival, boss battling like Terraria, then add a 2-finger pour of the farming, cooking, and fishing systems out of Stardew Valley, then add a tiny garnish of the combat and the death mechanics from Valheim, and to top it all off, salt the rim with a glaze of the automation from games like Factorio. Presto, baby, you got yourself a tasty beverage. Salud, kanpai, for your health. The gameplay loop is essentially the same as Terraria. Establish a base, mine your off, craft better weapons, and get that armor all beefed up so you can face the big bad boss. You prevail, keep building, delving deeper into the biomes that are more dangerous than the last, you get it. This is the formula, you either love it or you hate it. You start your adventure out from a small pool of specializations, and you can customize your character's appearance however you want. So if you really want to roleplay as an underground gourmet chef, go for it. Truth be told, these specializations are mostly superficial, and they just give you a little small benefit right at the beginning of the game. For example, the cook starts out with a cooking pot, or the explorer starts out with a lantern. These little boosts are a nice touch, but ultimately you can craft or find any item you start with, so don't sweat it too much. There's no wrong answer. I think it's a positive aspect that the game doesn't pressure you or penalize you in any way for your starting choice. Just do what you feel. Right now there's 5 biomes in the game: the dirt, larva, stone, forest, and one I don't really want to spoil for you guys, but it's pretty tough. It's a really big map to deal with, so there's lots to explore, and the game currently has 6 bosses you can fight. Another core aspect is exploration, and this game does some interesting and rewarding things, much like Terraria did. There are special items, locations, and cool little things to find that are sprinkled throughout each biome. Some of them are also permanent upgrades, so get digging and see what you can find. As with most crafting and survival games like this, the game's a lot more fun with some friends. Not only does it cut down on the somewhat tedious aspects like farming, mining, and base maintenance, but you can just get things done a lot more quickly. If you have a co-op crew looking for something new to play, this is a good choice. But, if you're a solo gamer who just loves to build bases and customization and just let your imagination run wild, that's all here too. Overall, the pace and the feel of the game is pretty chill. And if you just want to spend hours building out the perfect farm or automating mining deposits, you can have at it. I have to admit, I really love the skills and the mastery system in this game. You gain experience just by playing, mining, cooking, harvesting, combat, crafting, even running around. There's a skill tree for each skill, and every 5 points you level up gives you a skill point you can allocate on certain perks. The constant feedback and small rewards along the way just by playing, it just sweetens up the experience and adds another layer of fun to the core gameplay. So the bottom line is, if you enjoy these types of games, you're going to feel right at home with Core Keeper, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. Now let's talk about what's here. The main pitfall of early access games, in my opinion, is the lack of content, and while this game has a really polished experience and has a lot to offer, I also feel that it's just a little bit light on the content front right now. You can expect to top out about 20 to 25 hours of gameplay right now, content-wise. The only reason I put in an extra 10 hours was the recent one-off egg hunting event that was about 6 days long. The devs have signaled that they're planning more timed events like this one to encourage players to stick around and keep playing, and it helps spice things up a little bit. While these timed events do add some flair to the experience, players have been pretty vocal about it on the boards. A lot of them don't like the limited time aspect. I can totally understand why some people really dislike this idea and consider the limited time events as a strike against the game. I do have one main complaint right now with this game, and it's the fishing system. It is woefully incomplete, and quite frankly, it is not very rewarding right now. In 30 hours of gameplay, there's a good reason why my fishing skill is only at level 5. This really needs to be improved, so I hope the devs have some ideas for this to make it feel better. It doesn't feel well integrated to the gameplay right now. It just feels kind of tacked on, it's not very compelling. The devs stated that they expect this game to be finished by the end of the year, but I'm not so sure about that. Their roadmap only outlines 3 major updates, which are slated to include new biomes, game mechanics, and of course more craftables and enemies and other content. I purchased this game on March 20th, and since then, updates haven't really been that frequent. If you're like me coming off Vampire Survivors, where new characters are dropped every other day, you might want to set your expectations accordingly for this game. It's completely understandable that updating a big game like this with lots of systems in play, that the devs are going to have a harder time keeping the updates super frequent. One thing they could do is just drip feed content, kind of like how Terraria did it, with just small updates that add maybe one enemy at a time, or one item, or a couple new craftables or new customizations. Just little things to trickle in instead of one massive content update at a time. It's just the nature of the beast with games like this. Terraria set the bar for a ridiculous amount of content and substantial updates post-launch. I really hope this game can get there, and if it can, then I think there's going to be a thriving future for this game and a very strong community rallying behind it. So let's talk about the value. If any of what I covered sounds remotely appealing, or you've done all there is to do in Terraria, then at $13, Core Keeper offers a pretty damn good value. It's a very good game currently, and if they can fix the fishing system, add more quality updates, and add more challenging and interesting enemies, I think it's going to go from a very good game to one that's outstanding. Lastly, if you're looking for a beer to pair with this game, I recommend the Explorer from Anchorage Brewing. Cheers! If you enjoyed this early access report, let me know what other game you'd like to see covered in the comments below. If you didn't enjoy it, let me know what I could be doing better. As always, thanks for watching, and if you want to share some damn fine craft beers with me, come join me on Twitch, links in the description. Thanks.